kiss for you.
So, as you can clearly see, hello, I'm Eben, I'm MacEbs. I run the channel as well as the MacEbs gaming channel here. As you can see, the topic of the video here, as I put behind me, is the IT unemployment has officially hit about 5.8% here, which is not a good number, very bad, not a good thing to be having to deal with here. And the reason the face cam is on today is because this is something that personally affects me a pretty decent amount, as I've been looking for a job for a while, and so I kind of just wanted to talk about my experience trying to find a job in the industry, as it has obviously been pretty tough the past 8 to 10 months or so of doing this, and I kind of just wanted to talk about my experience as well as kind of, the question of what now after this has been revealed. We kind of have some concrete numbers of the problems with this industry and where it's kind of starting at now with that 5.7, 5.8%. So, quick background. I graduated from a state university with a degree in IT, as well as a business administration minor. I started applying for jobs around May when I got out of graduation, and I didn't get basically anything for 3 months. So I basically just went from, let's say like May all the way to June, July, August. I eventually got one hit in August for a local company. Unfortunately, it was a hospital because I'm in Northeast Mass, and Northeast Mass has a bunch of hospitals and stuff around. And the hospitals are, not very conducive to flexibility when things go wrong, right? A lot of the hospitals around here are nonprofits, and so they don't have a ton of money or flexibility and resources. And so basically what happened was I got a hit. It was for just a standard, kind of like desktop support role for IT, and they lied to some capacity about the overtime that was required for the job, as well as the pay that was required. And I'll just, say it right out. I spent about $110,000 on that degree. My tuition was about $33K a year. $110,000 over those 4 years to get this IT degree. Business admin minor was an IT support role, and they were giving me about $20 an hour. And when I, talked to them, I basically said, hey, I'm looking for more. We're in a very high cost of living area. I need more than that, politely as I can. They assured me that that was going to be possible, that I was going to be able to get a raise, and that was going to be all settled out, right? So I had everything prepped, ready to go. And then they come back 3 weeks later. And they basically say, congratulations, we were able to get you a raise. Remember, this is 3 weeks of talking to the person that I was going to be responding to, my boss, the head of the IT department for the hospital and everything like that. And they changed the amount of money from $20 an hour to $20 an hour and like 45 cents. So it was a 45-cent increase. That's not what I wanted to show. Now, if you're not aware of what the IT support role average salary is, the average salary for an IT support role, pretty basic, is about, as it says here in Mass, it's about $36 an hour. Obviously, it can vary wildly depending on location and expertise and all that, but the standard salary for something like this is about $55,000 to $75,000. This position, and that's, about $36 an hour. $60,000 is about $30 an hour. So my expectation is that, okay, I'm a lower end, just, college grad. So I'm not going to have, maybe to that level. I'm expecting about $56,000 is kind of the low end that I can accept. We'll get into why in a moment, but that's basically the target. Mass target for average is actually a little bit higher than that because of the cost of living, but generally speaking, that's what it is. So they are considerably lower than that, because if we want to do a calculation, right? 20 an hour, 40 hours a week, times 52 weeks is, $41,000 minus Massachusetts income tax, about 5%, plus the other stuff. You're looking at under $40,000, which for Mass and for where I'm at and what I need is not feasible. So that was the first job offer I got, and I basically had to decline, right? And so that's obviously not great, but I'm like, you know what? I'm confident in that decision that this will get better. A couple other things, so I'll just go here to what I wrote. These are basically the interviews I've had so far. Companies here, these 5 were the ones I interviewed for when I was looking for an internship, and then these are the ones I've interviewed for since that are not an internship. I think this should be public information. I'm tired of everyone hiding the fact that I applied for and interviewed for a company. These are the companies that I've gotten for, and this has been a time scale of about 8 months, right, since May. And it's, February right now. So I kind of have a write-up here about why this is. So that's just kind of my starting experience and what I did and what I kind of needed. And this kind of write-up here that I made is functionally speaking why. So basically what happened for the IT section is a bunch of people, when they got laid off in 2020 and 2022, went to IT certifications from Google or CompTIA or these other places because of the layoffs. A lot of these people were from hospitality and real estate, and those things weren't needed anymore, so they had large layoffs. People were tired of being insecure from those layoffs in 2020 and 2022, and so they migrated to what they thought was going to be a large growth industry that everyone was saying that was going to be a growth industry, which was IT work. It was going to have a stable job, better pay, all that, right? The industry begins rehiring. So I kind of like to think of this, I kind of like to think of this whole system as like you have the companies in 2020, right? And they're just dumping people, right? Things are going down. And then you have the things a little bit later on in like 2022, and they're dumping again, right? But in the middle in 2021, they're rehiring. Everything's going really up. In fact, everything goes up massively because people get laid off. There's a giant rehiring phase. People get laid off in 2023. There's a giant rehiring phase. These hiring phases are with the IT sector. Sorry, this is a horrible penmanship, but that's generally what it is. Because everyone's like, oh my God, we can't do this. We need a stable position. They go to IT. For context, my my time at university is in that 2020 to 2024 bracket, which is not good because, obviously layoffs here, layoffs in 2022 in the midpoint. And so basically this 2022 to 2024 section here is full of a rapid change in the industry. Because 2020, 2022, that's COVID. That's my freshman, sophomore year. That's a lot of change in general. 2022, 2024, as we said, was that time when there was massive amounts of people being dropped and layoffs from that massive hiring spike. And that's kind of where I am at in that area. Because of that, everyone goes to IT, as I said before. So by the time in 2024, when I'm getting my degree, there is a massive functional, huge difference between the people that were looking for IT jobs in 2022 and the people that are looking for IT jobs in 2024. So now people from that are moving to IT. They all of a sudden within that 4-year span have 2 massive global events that change the way people work and the reason people are working. The IT industry from that becomes oversaturated with workers who have now changed their careers. More importantly, people are not leaving these positions, and so new hires aren't being considered. The job security of everything is kind of in risk. People aren't going to leave their jobs, meaning that positions don't need to get filled. When they are filled, there are a much lower demand and lower pay since there isn't a shortage of these people. When these people do leave, it's easy to replace them because the skill floor needed to get these jobs has become easier. It's no longer just about, you need a degree in IT. You can get a bunch of IT certs. Now, I could go into a whole thing about why I don't think most of these certs are that useful, but I'll basically just leave it at these certs stop being useful when everyone has them. It's kind of one of those things where, like, if you wanted to get into the field and didn't have a degree, these certs were pretty good because it's the only thing you can show to have experience. But right now, most of these, not all of them, but most of these certs aren't that useful right now, right? And partially the reason is because everyone started to get them. So many people got recommended a bunch of certs to take because that was the only way they could show their proficiency and get hired for these base levels. Because of that, the skill floor needed to get into these jobs become easier and the knowledge needed becomes less and less. So the work overall becomes less valued. This kind of setup works for a couple different types of people. People that got laid off in 2022 and, this whole frenzy in 2022 and 2023, it works for people that wanted a career change. Those are older people. I have a couple of examples of people that I knew personally that were, in their 40s and 50s and wanted a career change and went for a more technical field. That allows better growth potential, and they can do that, and they can only do that because they can afford a pay cut from their current situation, and they tend to have savings, right? So that's important to know. As well as people that might have gotten an associate degree. So while I was doing my 4 years here, which I will remind everyone cost $110,000, other people, and that's, a bachelor's of science, a standard degree, other people were doing a less expensive, so you could literally cut that in half, so, $55,000, and they were doing an associate degree. And this associate degree of science, or whatever it's called, is considerably less. It takes less time. Then what a lot of people do is they decide, okay, I want to do an internship of some kind, an apprenticeship, whatever you call it. But because I've only done 2 years of college versus 4 years, I can take these gigantic 2-year apprenticeships that are offered by the NSA, that are offered by other companies around here, and BAE is a big one, right? I can take these giant 2-year apprenticeships because of I haven't spent that money, that $55,000. I can afford to take these at a lower cost of being paid for them for a significant amount of time because I didn't do that, right? I can basically use that 2 years instead of going to the rest of the college to do an internship. So by the time I've completed what is equivalent of 4 years, I have that experience. So that is similar to what I had, but I have a 4-year degree, which means I can't afford to realistically spend the next 2 years doing an apprenticeship for, it was going to be like $45,000, right? Especially in a really high cost of living area. In this case, it was Worcester, right? Worcester is not as high cost as other places in Mass, but it's still, a significant amount. Rent's still going to be at least $2,000 a month, that kind of thing. And so that just wasn't really for me. And I kind of rationalize this by saying, these internships are for those people that can spend the 2 years to further their career because they've either changed careers or they got an associate degree and can afford to do that, right? And so that's kind of basically where I am. And I think where a lot of people are is this part here. A lot of people are in a spot, and let me just go back to this data, right? A lot of people are in a spot where they can't get a position, in my case, because I have a degree, because that the entry-level stuff has been lowered so that you aren't being considered as much as other people. Obviously, things like AI, as it says here, are a thing, and outsourcing of the jobs to India and other places has been a problem for a long time, even beyond this. But it's kind of the triple whammy. The AI stuff is a short-term idea from the business people that we can replace people with AI. Not true, but okay, that contributes to it. The second hit is obviously the outsourcing, which has become more common. That's not super different from what it has been the past considerable amount of time, 6, 7, 8 years, right? The last thing is the just large quantity of layoffs and people changing industries and careers. So you basically don't have the same environment that you did a while ago. And by a while ago, I mean in 2019, even 2020. That's it. Right? You get people that are like, oh, we can fix it with AI and we can outsource it to India, and a bunch of people coming in. So you have a flooded market. I haven't seen a market that's as flooded here as the IT market has been in the past couple of years. It went from basically, hey, we need everyone we can get in 2020 to, oh my God, we're overstuffed, please stop showing up in 2024, basically. And I'm still looking for a job, right? And so I'm in a position, luckily, where I don't have to worry about that as much. Don't have any ongoing expenses because I'm living with someone that's able to cover for a decent amount of that, which I'm very grateful for. But because of that, I'm not super stressed. Other people don't have that opportunity. And so my kind of discussion on this really hinges on the fact that this number is high because of partially the AI short-sightedness and the fact that everyone kind of shifted over to this when it started, and the fact that the outsourcing continues to be a problem. So you just get something that's extremely, divisive in terms of the industry impact in a very, very short, 2-year time frame. And so my question of what now is, here's what I did, right? And maybe this works for you, maybe it doesn't. This isn't a plug, but what I started to do is my own stuff, right? I started an online safety service, IT related, focused on children online safety and online safety in general. And I made this website here, and it's a couple of different parts. It's education, it's custom consultancy and advice based on the needs of the child and the needs of the parents and what they need. as well as the implementation aspect of it, the hands-on implementation of these controls and restrictions and advice and ideas and all that, right? You can go to eos521.com if you want to learn more, but this is what I did because I saw this as a need, and it's also something I can do that makes me feel productive. If there's one piece of advice that I can get that seems to be helping me, at least, mentally, even if it doesn't actually improve things, is work on something like a long-term project of some kind, right? I've been posting a lot of videos recently because that's part of what I want to do. I've been trying to get this business going here with EOS, and that's what I've been trying to do because I like doing these things and I like being productive. So if there's one thing and you're trying to find a job, I would say for your mental sanity and for everyone's kind of well-being, find a long-term project to work on. It could be design of some kind, it could be game development, it could be hiking, it could be building models or building a treehouse or whatever it is. Find something that you are passionate about and that you can spend a long time doing. Because if you just keep on looking at LinkedIn and Indeed and all these places forever, you're just going to stress yourself out. So my recommendation would be finding something that you can do that feels like a long-term project to wade out the never-ending cascade of problems that you're seeing, right? The big dip here. Just find something there that interests you that you can get towards and you can work on so that by the time you do get a job, it doesn't feel like you've been doing nothing for an extended period of time. So hopefully that made sense. Hopefully it was interesting. Hopefully I kind of explained it well and kind of explained where I'm coming from in terms of what my position is currently, as well as the potential reasons that this is happening from someone that has firsthand experience going through this, going through the industry, looking and changing and seeing literally what has been happening since, my entire time of, going to school and seeing the changes in real time happen. And hopefully that was, informational. And, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more IT and other content. Subscribe to the gaming channel for my giant hour-and-a-half video I'm working on there. And yeah, just thank you for watching. And I'll see everyone in the next video.